So lately in the shop here, we're working on making a bunch of things, specifically awls and screwdrivers, handles, wax pots and wax polish, as well as spinning tops and boxes for those. So I thought I would share a little bit of what the process is like here behind the scenes. So what I got here right now is some beautiful ash. This is the wood that I'm using for screwdriver and awl handles right now. So I love ash. I mean, ash is such a utilitarian wood. It is really strong, solid, straight, all of that. So this is perfect for this use for tool handles in general, right? So what I'm gonna do now, right now here in the shop, is to square some up. So I need them 1.5 by 1.5 inches, and then by 8 inches long. And then I need to find the center, and we're gonna do that on the lathe. So first step is just gonna be to cut this up. These I like to save for building like model houses and stuff, where you need thin pieces for roofs, for walls, whatever. Okay, so now we have a perfect 1.5 by 1.5 inch block. That piece has a little bit of cracking right there. We'll see if we can use that or not. Now, one of my favorite parts about the saw stop here is this sliding table, which basically means that you get a miter saw. I mean, you can do all your cross cuts. So we just hook those in. Because it moves so easily, and there's a stop lock and all of that, so just loosen it, and then you have this wonderful gliding motion. We don't even use my miter saw anymore, unless I do it outside and it's kind of rough, you know? But if I'm cutting in here, this is what I use. Now, in terms of creating these points for the awl, so first of all, picked up a bunch of these HSS high-speed steel, these solid rods. And so what we were doing first was just using a grinder, you know, stone grinder, to create the point. Now the problem with that, of course, is that you heat up the metal, you don't have water involved, and like you have to move it, and it's not completely like super clean, super repetitive, super great. Now, do I have another machine that involves a stone and water to keep the metal cool? Yes, I do. I use my Tormek for sharpening stuff in general. So we did test trying out the Tormek for this purpose in terms of creating this super sharp point. And I like when the awl is really sharp. I know some people like it when it's not so sharp. I think if you're actually making marks, if you're doing your cuts, having a super sharp awl that holds its edge is really important. So that's what I want with these awls. I want a sharp edge that's gonna hold. And turns out the Tormek is a really great tool for creating that sharp point on the tool. Now right in front of me here, we have a lot of wax pots engraved, and some of them we have finished and they are sanded and they're just beautiful. And the fit is really great on these, and some of them need to be done. But the laser engraver has been running like perfectly. We've been working on a table for that. Basically the table is custom created for the laser engraver, so it has everything it needs, and it has wheels on it, which means that we can either run the laser engraver and have a fan hooked up here, or we can wheel the whole thing outside and run it outside. So that's what we've been working on. It's kind of cool, actually. It's been feeling a bit like Santa's workshop in here, and it's the best feeling. I love when there is like a production involved and you have like, you know, there's a bunch of things you're doing. Of course, Christmas is coming up rather soon. One thing that's been kind of interesting is learning how to make things more efficient, learning how to run the CNC more efficiently and to cut these more efficiently, and also what order that you need to do things in order to produce the best result. Like this, for example, you need to create the hole that the metal is going to go in before you actually put it on the CNC machine and run that and cut that out, because we need to have that hole drilled first, because if we do it after the fact, we're not going to find that perfectly centered hole. And just like little things like that really you only figure out with practice and doing it a bunch of times. So this is going to be a video about this whole stand and everything. This was cut on the CNC, but this might be my favorite piece in here right now, just because it is so, well, it's so custom. Don't you think that anytime anything is really custom, so that whatever tool or whatever, however you're using it fits just perfectly, those are the best things, because everything has a place and there is a reason for everything, right? So now I kind of, first I showed you the tent version and this version, and now we have a stand as well. So each improvement have like made it much better and easier to use for different reasons, for different things. So this is working out really good now, being able to cut, if you have a bunch to cut it outside. Now currently the wire we have to connect it to the computer is a bit too short. We ordered a new wire, it should be here tomorrow. That is just a little bit longer, so we can bring this out further and then close the garage doors. That way, it would be completely smoke-free in there. The enclosure, of course, works really great, but when you're just cutting like a lot of it, you might as well do it outside and make sure that there's no smoke and just vent it all outside. So next step here, we're at the lathe. This is a Grizzly G0844. It's a benchtop lathe. It's kind of funny because obviously a lathe is useful for turning stuff, right? Turning bowls, turning spindles, all of that kind of stuff. But the main reason why we wanted to include a lathe here in the shop is to drill super straight holes. So for a lot of different jobs that we're doing, we need basically the chuck situation, spinning and drilling straight holes. So what I'm doing right now is centering or drilling super straight centered holes in these blanks, which will be for handles. Okay, so today we have the beeswax is heating up in the slow cooker, which is what we use to heat up wax, because it heats up really nice and slowly. I get great control. And right here we have all of these wax pots ready to go, and they have the logo on top. We've been working on them so that they are all fitting in. It's a great fit on each one. And I love all the different colors and the different woods. So once combining with wax polish, they will be poured directly into the wax pot, because that's how you get the best kind of even, nice pour. Here are the awl handles, the screwdriver handles. And in the past, I was carving out Darbin Orvar on the handle on the CNC machine. Now this is fine, but I really like how crisp and clear you could get it on the engraver. So I've been kind of playing with some different designs here. So it actually says Scratch All and Darbin Orvar. So I was trying out this one. This one I feel like it got a little too dark. Maybe the font was a little much for this size. Now I got this one, which is a little bit different. This is basically this. It's a cleaner font right here. Still, I like this, but I'm just thinking about one change that I want to make. We kind of switch the position of this and kind of resize things a little bit. But this is really nice and clear to read, like beautiful burn. Whereas this is, I do like that it's carved, but at the same time, you don't get it to be quite as crisp. So we can do a test with this different design. I want to try and see if we can get a winner here. Okay, so let's take this one here, and I've got a position right here. So this is just the place board here, so we can just turn this around, and we're gonna put this right in the center here. Okay, I think that's good. And then we just want to move this over too to make sure we have a good height. It's not touching or anything. So now we're just homing, bringing it back to position. Actually, I love this. I think that's a great kind of combination of the two. That looks really good, actually. So I've been having some conversations with friends lately about who's using ChatGPT, who's using Bard, who's using AI at all. And yesterday it kind of struck me, like, I always find it interesting when you see how people use these tools in a practical way, in an actual way, because obviously, I mean, it's really great if you want help to do research on a subject, or in terms of programming, computer work, there's a lot of stuff you can do with ChatGPT. But I just wanted to share 2 ways that we used it within the past week, which I thought was kind of like really useful and really practical and kind of interesting. So, well, the first one here, yesterday we were gonna bake cupcakes, like Halloween cupcakes. And so I put it in the system that, okay, I have the idea of what I wanted to do. Like, I want to bake 12 large cupcakes and 12 small cupcakes. I want to put a marzipan in the middle and marzipan on top. I have 2 eggs, I have this much flour, I have this and this and this. Can you provide me with a recipe? And it did. And we've kind of used this technique quite a few times, especially if you have limitations or you have an idea of something you want to bake, and you basically ask it to create a recipe. And basically I think once it wasn't that great, but pretty much every time the results have been really great. Now, another way that we used it recently, or you used AI recently, which I also thought was kind of an interesting way, is I just had my mom and stepdad come visit for a week, which was really fun. And one night we decided to play Trivial Pursuit. You know, the game where you ask a lot of questions. And our version of the game is kind of dated and old. And so turns out that the questions weren't really that great for anybody. My mom was getting like American baseball questions and it wasn't really clicking. So instead we asked ChatGPT to create a new set of Trivial Pursuit questions, but targeted for different people. So, okay, we have, 2 people who are from Sweden, create like a series of questions for them. We have a 5-year-old kid, create a questions for him. And then also let's create some more modern questions because our game was pretty old. So now we had a whole new range set of questions and everybody got a targeted question within the different categories, of course. And it was really fun because everybody got to be more involved and the questions were actually fun. My 5-year-old won. He was really happy because he got to be a part of it and the questions were great for him. So anyway, I thought this was kind of an interesting way to use OpenAI or whatever you're using in an actual practical way. I'm sure there are lots of different ways. Let me know if you are using it in some practical, interesting way, like an everyday way that is not just research or helping you out with information, that kind of thing. Because I'm kind of curious, how are people using this stuff, in reality? So anyway, you're having a beautiful day here. It's like summer, but it's gonna get cold, I think tomorrow. So just enjoying it, and we have a battle with leaves on the property, so we're gonna deal with a lot of leaves, and of course do a lot of work. And then we're gonna have some of these a lot of the stuff that we've been working on is going to come out in the shop eventually, relatively soon, because Christmas, the season is coming up. So these are kind of a cool way if you wanted to, get one of these things for your shop, if you wanted to support the channel, anything like that. So, but I'm going to make more videos about that. And for all of these things, I'm planning on making individual videos on each, the awls and the spinning tops and the screwdrivers as well. And the wax pots. So lots of work to be done. But hope you're doing well, and I'll see you soon. Bye.